All right, what's up, everybody? Happy race weekend. Hopefully, race day, depending on what day you're watching this, and really, honestly, just depending on what the weather is doing. But as always, it seems like whenever NASCAR comes into town, Mother Nature just does not want to cooperate with us. So Saturday looks like they're calling for rain, not as much rain as they're calling for on Sunday. So I'm hopeful they'll be able to get this Xfinity race in, but chances are looking this cup race is most likely going to take place on Monday. But we're actually talking about the Xfinity series today. Normally, especially in 2023, it's hard, man. It's hard to get content out there with these short turnaround, these 1 day, same day shows. But luckily enough for us this weekend, New Hampshire did all their practice qualifying, at least for the Xfinity series on Friday, scheduled the race on Saturday. So I had some extra time just hanging out this weekend for once. It's been such a busy year with moving and traveling and all these weddings and stuff. It's a lot of fun stuff to go to, but it definitely makes getting content out very difficult. But had some extra time, so I was like, hey, got the sheet done. Just hop on here, record a quick 10-15 minute video, hopefully, if I don't get rambling too much here, and we'll have some fun with it. So, really for me, when I looked at practice, I looked at qualifying, I just looked at, like, historically how some of these drivers have done on these short flat tracks. I'm looking at Phoenix, I'm looking at Richmond, I'm looking at Martinsville so far this year, looking at previous New Hampshire races we've been at. But really, John Hunter Nemechek and Chandler Smith, I mean, they both qualified 1-2, no surprise, but they have been lights out on this package. And these two cars look significantly faster than the other cars in the field. So, it's basically a coin flip, I think, between the two of them. I think Chandler Smith has a faster, short run car, and then it looks like maybe John Hunter Nemechek's car comes in a little bit on the longer run. Uh, Chandler Smith had the fastest 5 lap and 10 lap average, and then you look at John Hunter Nemechek, he had the fastest 15 to 20 lap average, and they're basically 1-2 the entire time. So it's going to be hard for one of them not to lead a ton of laps. It's going to be hard for one of them not to win this race unless something crazy happens. Maybe they get into each other. Maybe there's crazy, yellow that comes out. Who knows? I mean, it's the Xfinity series, and nothing ever goes as predicted. There's always some wrench thrown into the equation, but that's kind of what makes it fun. So as far as DFS purposes go, I really like both of them. I think you can make an argument for playing both of them together. It's a little crazy to think about playing both guys on the front row together because they don't give you any place differential upside. But I think between the fast laps, the laps led, and just ultimately where they're going to finish, I just have a hard time envisioning either of them having a bad day unless, again, they get in an accident or there's some mechanical issue. So, again, I don't mind playing both of them together. Maybe you just want to take a stand, play one of them. It's really up to you, but I like playing both of them together personally, just because I think they're going to kind of run away with this race. Other than that, Allgaier and Barry, similar plays. Allgaier ran to an extent. I mean, Allgaier ran a ton of laps in practice, which is good. He knows what his car is, what he needs, what he has to do for the race tomorrow. Where Barry, on the other hand, was quick, but he didn't run nearly as many laps as Allgaier. Maybe that's him saying, "Hey, I like my car. It's good to go. I'm ready for the race." Maybe Allgaier was out there, "Hey, we need some adjustments on this." So I think both of them are more GPP options. I, again, would much rather have John Hunter Nemechek and Chandler Smith, but maybe you only play one of John Hunter Nemechek and Chandler Smith. Maybe you play Chandler Smith with Allgaier, for example. Maybe that's a good way to potentially get different in your line. But for me, I'd rather, if I'm looking to pivot off of one of them, I'm going to go right to Cole Custer and Sammy Smith. Custer has been much better as of late than he was earlier this year. He was second quickest in practice. He finished fifth at Richmond, third at Martinsville. Pretty good on these track types. Sammy Smith had the quickest single lap time in practice. He did win on a short track earlier this year, winning at Phoenix, and he came home second at Martinsville, which was the most previous kind of short flat track that we were at. So I just got Custer and Smith projected for a little bit higher than I do Allgaier and Barry. I don't mind Allgaier and Barry, but it's just, you can't play all these guys together. And for me, I want to prioritize Smith and Nemechek. And then if I'm trying to get different, or maybe I'm looking for a third potential lap leader or just a third potential, dominator type of play, I'm going to lean on Cole Custer and Sammy Smith. So between those four, I want at least two in all of my lines. From there, because of that, because I'm so high on all those guys, I'm not really getting the Austin Hill. I'm not really getting the Austin Dillon. I'm not really getting the Sam Mayer. I just project them to kind of run around where they where they qualified, or if anything, maybe even fall back. Austin Dillon and Sam Mayer were not very good in practice. Looks like they were able to turn it around with their qualifying times, but I don't project them to lead laps. I don't really project them to get fast laps. I do like Sheldon Creed. Sheldon Creed gives you some place differential upside. So maybe, John Henry Nemechek and or Chandler Smith lead you a ton of laps. Well, how are your other players, in your 6-man lineup going to score points? You're going to need some finishing potential points, and you're going to need some place differential points. Sheldon Creed gives you both of those options. So I really like Sheldon Creed. Pretty nice price tag there as well. Brandon Jones has just been very difficult to play this year. Pretty cool. We qualified 5th, but basically going to be a very tough interest, tough to get there in DFS purposes. I just project him going backwards instead of forwards. Herbst, I think, is fine. Starts 14th, most likely is going to finish anywhere between 8th and 12th. Not going to be a killer DFS day, but will be more than fine. Don't mind him for tournaments. Hemrick starts around where he should finish. I'd much rather play Herbst. Kligerman is a very similar play to Herbst. I just have Herbst projected a little bit higher. So if you can pay the extra $400 for Herbst, I would do that. Moffitt's a similar play to Hemrick. I just, if you're playing anyone in this 8K range, I'm not getting to them a lot. I would play Herbst and then Kligerman. Gralla and Sieg are going to be interesting. So if you are just looking at the data, if you actually didn't watch the practice session, so Ryan Sieg had an issue, goes into the corner, spins out, turns the car around, backs into, and hits Kaz Gralla, and both of them go up to the wall and, more or less total their car. So both of them, I would imagine, I haven't checked yet, but I would be very surprised if they're both not going to a backup car. So because of that, they did not qualify. They're going to start shotgun on the field, DFL, but both of them were very quick in practice, relatively speaking, before they had that issue. So both of them give you a lot of place differential upside, even with the backup car. There's no way they're not going to finish, inside, give you 10 plus, even more than that, place differential, assuming that, again, there's not a mechanical failure or, they get into another accident. So they're going to be really popular, probably for good reason. So it's really easy to get John Hunter Nemechek, Chandler Smith, Kaz Gralla, Ryan Sieg, and then it gives you I don't remember what it gives you, $6-7 grand maybe to build the rest of your lines. You can still build a pretty balanced lineup. So like both of them, or maybe I'll check Twitter for updates before the green flag. I would advise you to do the same if there's any breaking news that comes about their cars or anything like that. But for right now, starting that deep in the field, even with the backup cars, they should be more than okay. Because of that, I'm not really getting the Retzlaff. I'm not really getting the Burton. Carruth, I think, is a GPP interesting play, maybe a pivot option off of Gralla and Sieg. It's just going to be hard not to hit the upside that the Gralla and Sieg offer. And I really like Joe Graf Jr. I'm going to take a stand here. He's in the JGR, 19. If it was literally any other driver, at least of top tier talent, that we've seen in this car earlier this year outside of Joe Graf Jr., there's no way this car would be priced at 7,100. If anything, this car might be the favorite to win the race. So it's a JGR car, 7.1K, super easy to fit in lines, regardless of who your lap leaders are. It starts 19th. A lot better than that. And he posted the top 3 time in practice too. So this car has some decent speed. Don't really think Graf is all that good of a driver, but he's good enough to move forward. And that the equipment is significantly better than all the equipment around there. LeBay, Weatherman, similar plays. If you're playing Alex LeBay, you might as well just drop down and play Josh Williams. They're in the same equipment. They start right next to each other. You get a huge price savings there. So I might bump LeBay. Again, I have him as medium interest just because I think they can finish inside the top 20, but you get a lot of price savings dropping down to Williams there. Weatherman's fine. If you land on him, I'm not going out of my way to get him. Alfredo probably starts around where he's going to finish. Clements was pretty good in practice, starts 16th. Wish he started a little bit further back, but if you're looking for just a finishing potential type of play, I don't mind Clements at all. Kyle Sieg, kind of qualified. We're right around where he practiced, and most likely he's going to run around kind of that 25th, 30th place for most of the day. And in this range, you got Mozak, Hacker, Williams, and Ellis. So a lot of my lines are ending kind of in this range. I'm not really getting too much lower than this. I like Ellis just because he starts further back. He's cheaper, allows you to kind of pay up for some other drivers, but probably upside wise, it's hard. Like maybe then you go to Connor Mosack there, but he's not the best driver. Starts a little bit further forward. His equipment's pretty good. His teammate was doing really good in practice before he got taken out. Hacker slipped a little bit in his qualifying run. His practice times were better than 31st, so probably he's going to move forward. Then Williams starts the furthest forward of all of them, but his practice times are pretty decent. So kind of a toss up there between the four of them. I have all of them projected relatively, to finish similar to one another. And then other than that, really the only other play that interests me a little bit would be Blaine Perkins, just because of the price where he starts and the equipment that he's in. I have a hard time, seeing Poole paying off. I don't really project there to be a lot of accidents, in this race. I don't think it gets super chaotic if some of these drivers do spin out, hit the wall. Most of them should be able to continue going, unless there's like a massive pileup or something. But I just don't have, I'm not projecting this to get super chaotic and be a wreck fest where some of these back marker cars can really take advantage of it. I mean, yeah, we're still going to see some wrecks, but for me, I think it really comes down to if you play both John Hunter Nemechek and Chandler Smith together, or potentially just one of them, and then who you build around there. And we'll look for updates with Kaz Gralla and Ryan Sieg. But as far as right now goes, doesn't scare me at all, even if they're in backup cars. Yeah. So hopefully that was helpful, pretty straightforward, pretty quick. Looking forward to this Xfinity race. Hopefully we can get some racing in on Saturday, and then we'll be right back here for our Cup Series picks video. The spreadsheet, as always, is posted on Twitter. It's at FastCarsFM. Then our YouTube channel, which is, you're on. Maybe you found the YouTube video through Twitter. If you are watching this video and you made it this far, thank you. And if you have not already, hitting that like button and subscribing to the channel is always appreciated. We're slowly but surely growing. I think we're at 733. Next milestone's 800. So we're getting there. But all right, thanks guys. Catch you hopefully tomorrow.